Okay, I've been thinking about this for a bit now. I've done now maybe 7 takes of this because it was hard to pin down what I really wanted to relay about what this show was. I can just talk about the pay-per-view, but this is more than that. What is this show? Is this an appeasement to the women because they know they got shafted by the WWE for money? Because that's what this is coming down to. The WWE, in their great decision and great wisdom, and I've said this myself before, I think in the last, in Impact Wrestling, no, in SmackDown, I said the WWE is probably going to still do Crown Jewel, and they are going to do Crown Jewel just as I predicted. They've already announced it. This coming next, Friday, they're going to be doing it. So this is probably an appeasement for the women. But to be honest, it wasn't even an appeasement. This was supposed to be something great that's supposed to spotlight SmackDown and Raw wrestlers. But you know what this was? And I had to think about this. This was an NXT show. And I want to make this clear, this was not a pay-per-view. This was an NXT show. Because this is nothing like TakeOver Brooklyn. Nothing like the other takeovers, like TakeOver Chicago. Nope. That is none of that here. And I'm sure people are going to say, oh, yes, it is. No. I'm sorry. I do respect your point of view thinking that this was a great show. But in actuality, this was an average show of NXT. The lighting, the set, the attitude of it was all NXT. This was like a regular taping of NXT with just women in it. That's what you got here. And that is what we're going to be reviewing. An NXT show. And an average one of that. Now, what do we get here? Let's do the opening. The rumors about Alexa Bliss not being able to wrestle because she was hurt seem to be true. Because once Lita and... I'll admit this. I was surprised to see that Lita and Trish Stratus, 2 legends, came out in the opening of the show. When they should be somewhere in the middle near the end. Because that would make more sense. But they opened the show with Trish and Lita along with Mickey and Alicia Fox. Now, I'm not going to say Alicia Fox is 100% a bad wrestler. She's not. As much as people want to shit on her. She has her moments when she can wrestle okay to decent. She has the ability to do a character that is okay to decent. So in this situation, she was in a no-win situation. Honestly, whether she did this job perfectly and she actually did it well, or she screwed up multiple times and she did screw up once that made the entire match look bad, she was going to be shitted on by anybody right now. I'm being 100% honest. I'm not going to give my perspective if she was good or not. I'm just telling you that it doesn't make a difference. She was going to be the sacrificial lamb here. And she was. Was the match good for Lita and Trish Stratus? Well, Trish basically looked way better than Lita did. The only one between all 3 of them who looked the best was Mickie James. She was the one who was taking all the bumps in the match. When it came to Alicia, she was there parts of it to be more theatrical than anything else. She had her moments in the ring, but in the end, it was Mickie James who was busting her ass in this. Tell me anybody, you want to keep saying Mickie James is an old fogey that really you don't care about. Who cares about her? Think about the women that are there now. Really. She had to bust her ass for Lita, Trish Stratus, and to cover for Alicia Fox. The only time she didn't cover for her was when the match was almost near its end. And when, what was the move that she did? The bulldog that Trish Stratus, the Stratusfaction. I can't remember, it's been a long time. She does it. And the only thing that Fox had to do was break up the count. And guess what? She couldn't do that. She didn't jump back into the ring fast enough. And you can see from the shot in my face, you see the ref about to count. And he held his hand up. He had no choice. Because if he counted 3, the faces would have won way earlier than they were supposed to. He had to hold up for Fox to get back into the ring and save Mickie James. That was just so bad. In the end, the women win, but to be honest, yes, it had that botch, but it should have been higher up on the card. What should have opened the show was the Battle Royal. Okay, now this is where things get a little confusing. The Battle Royal was semi-alright. But there were things in this Battle Royal that made no sense. One, and I'm saying this clearly, why didn't you put Alundra Blaze on commentary? Yes, I know that Renee Young is still working as a commentator. She's still new in it. But it would have been better for all women's commentator team to do Evolution instead of having Michael Cole there. And then you have everybody else, all the men commentators be seen. Why did you do it, WWE? You wanted to make this special for the women. But then you started showing the guys from Portugal, the guy from Japan, the guy from China, the guy from India, I believe. You showed all them. Why did you show them in the first place? If you're trying to promote women's evolution, you got only one true commentator on your team. One woman. You couldn't be smart enough to not show any of the other men from the other countries. No, you had to show them. And you had to make this all about Michael Cole as the head commentator, period. The voice of the WWE. If you really wanted to make this special, you should have let Alundra Blaze sit by Beth Phoenix and let Renee Young do it. But that's just my critique. You guys can tell me below. I know Renee Young would have boxed a lot, but it would have made better sense. Now, when it came to the Battle Royal, I did like seeing Molly Holly. Seeing Ivory dance with Mella was funny. Mella was sloppy as hell. The person I believe they were cheering the most for was the person that should have won the entire show. The entire Battle Royal, that show. And that was, guess who? And it's not Naomi, even though she was the only one to be allowed to run her entire intro song. No. It was Ember Moon. That's right. The person I believe they cheered the loudest for was Ember Moon. And Ember Moon should have won. And mind you, Tamina was there. I want to see Tamina get back to work and be in that freaking ring and finally get herself a title shot and win the title. Not because she's one of the best ones there. It's because she's been in the company long enough that anyone else who has been through that company the last 15 years, I know has sucked some dick at one point. Except for the ones that have been treated like shit. Like a Naomi, who had to bust her ass to get what she had. Because they weren't willing to give it to her. She had to fucking go crazy to get that damn thing without sucking dick. But everyone else, like a damn Kelly got the damn title. But a Tamina, who hasn't sucked no dick. She hasn't? What? She didn't suck enough? I mean, she should have sucked dick then? Mind you, that wasn't the person that should have won this. It should have been Ember Moon. They should have gotten rid of Nia Jax and let Ember Moon win this to go up against Ronda Rousey. You know why? Because we've seen this already. And worse yet, we've seen this already where it is now a face Nia Jax facing a face Ronda Rousey. And of course, they're going to flip Nia Jax to heel to make her interesting. But this is the problem. Nia Jax is Big Show. How many times has she faced and healed and faced and healed? Multiple times she's flipped from one character to another. That's the reason why I wanted Ember Moon. It wouldn't have made a difference if she was heel. People would have still loved to see the match. And I really believe they made a horrible mistake there. Let's move on to the Mae Young Classic final. And that was Storm versus, what is her name? Because I haven't been watching the product for a while. Shirai. Io Shirai or Io? Oh, Io Shirai. So, because I haven't seen the product in a while, It kind of upset me that I didn't see Shirai and Storm for a while. I know Storm is on NXT UK. And Shirai has just come in. But the thing is that if I watched NXT for a while, I would be more interested and more invested in the product of NXT more than SmackDown and Raw. But because I know what's going to happen to everybody on that roster, it turns me the hell off. And I know people will say, what the hell are you talking about? Simply put, knowing that practically everybody on NXT roster goes to the main roster of Raw or SmackDown, I got turned off. I have no interest in watching NXT as long as I know that every single one of those people that go up to the main roster is going to be treated like garbage. It just turns me off. Maybe one day I'll change my mind about it, but as it stands, unless people start telling me, please watch NXT and do reviews of it, and I pose anybody to convince me to do it. If you believe that I would be better off watching the NXT product than SmackDown or Raw, convince me. Because when you don't, that just proves to me I'm right. That it's not NXT being bad, that who cares about the characters there when they get destroyed on the main roster. Anyway, was the match good? Yes, it was. Very few botches, if there were any at all. This was a well done match. Being that this was NXT, a regular show, it had the feel of NXT, not like Raw, not like SmackDown, so it had a better feel. The crowd felt better. So that is a good thing. In the end, I forgot her name. I forgot her first name, but Storm did win. Gorgeous looking woman. 22 years old. Why am I not 22 instead of 47? To be with a lovely lady like that would be wonderful, counting if she didn't drink her brains out or drink herself into a stupor. That I would be happy to be the loving husband of a Storm. Or a Shirai. Both of them are lovely ladies. It's wonderful to see that Storm did win, and she is on NXT UK. But the question is she going to move from UK to US? Is she going to go from the developmental brand from Europe to the developmental brand of the United States to get onto the main roster, which would eventually happen? I don't know. We'll eventually find out. Let's go to the next one. Might as well get this over with. 6-woman tag. The Riot Squad versus, guess who? Natalya. Look, I really didn't care about this match. Yeah, it was interesting to see Bayley try to protect Sasha Banks after all the trouble they've been having. But it's the same match we've seen a couple of times already. I didn't care. Who won? It was, who won it? Sasha got the tap out to Liv Morgan, I believe. I think she did a tap. No, she didn't do a tap out. She just beat her. I didn't care. I didn't care. Zero care. Now, before I get on to the other match from NXT, I got to say this about the video packages. The problem with the video packages, one major problem. There were too many of them. And I know women are going to be mad. I know people are going to say, you don't like women promoting themselves? You don't like women showing they have pride in themselves? You don't like women speaking? You damn chauvinistic pig. No. I'm not a chauvinistic pig. I don't mind people, men or women alike, showing their pride in who they are and what they do. But here's the problem. The way the WWE had them promote this was so cringeworthy. How can I explain this to you guys? Alright, I'll give it to you in this respect. Going kind of away from wrestling to civil rights. Civil rights for colored people. I'm part black. My mother was a mixed black woman. She was light-skinned. She was a black woman who was light-skinned. She grew up from 1929 to 1994. She died when she was 65 years old. She grew up during that time when people just wanted to be not just equal, but the same. One thing that people don't get, when it comes to civil rights. And even now, they're screaming that they want equality, but they want to act like they're superior, that they're better. And the problem is that when you're asking to be equal to someone, that means you get treated exactly the same. So that means sometimes you don't need to go so damn far to show that you're worth it. Because when you do that, you waste your own time. Because you're not proving that you're equal. You're proving that you're feeling inferior. You're feeling like you got something to prove so badly that you have to scream it at that person who now wants to show you that you're the same as me. But then you're saying, no, I'll never be the same as you. I got to be better than you. And that's when you'll never be equal. You'll never have equal rights. And in this case with Evolution, with the video packages, it felt like that. They're not saying that they should have the right to be promoted just like the men. They're saying that not only they're better than the men because they're women, but that the men are just plain freaking stupid. They're not seeing the men as equals. Hell, they don't even see themselves as equals. And that's why the video packages felt cringy. It's alright to have one, maybe two videos talking about this. Hell, the very opening of the show, you had a band with two women playing guitar. And to be honest, it felt like they were overcompensating because when it came to that music, the music sucked. Now I know those two women could play better music than that. They picked a song that just sucked. But most people want to say they rose beyond a normal band of men. They didn't. They tried too hard. And the song they were playing sucked. So that's what it felt like when it came to video packages. Now, the NXT Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler versus Kylie Zane. Sane, not Zane. It was a good match, but it not kind of. I saw this match when they had it last time. At the last takeover when Shayna Baszler was trying to defend her title against Kylie Zane. I keep saying Zane instead of Sane. Sorry. But it kind of felt like a repeat. It didn't feel like something different. Mind you, even though it did feel like a repeat match to me, because to be honest, I have been watching the product for a while, it was still a damn good match. And I'm not shitting on it. It just felt like the same as the match they had at the last pay-per-view. Even though in this situation, Shayna Baszler won the title back, which helps with, well, having the other horsewomen that is from, I can't really say they're wrestling MMA now. Because the way it sounds, it looks like these two other women who are usually working MMA are going to be helping Shayna Baszler in some form or fashion for a little while. So if they're not doing UFC or any MMA type of fights, they're helping the WWE. So now you may have now two factions with the same name that sooner or later may actually meet one another. So I don't know where to go with that. But I'm not going to say the match was bad because it was good. Even though it did feel like a repeat to me personally, I'm sure everyone else loved it. Now, here's the thing. You got two matches left. And the matches are out of order. The match that should have happened next should have been Ronda Rousey versus Nikki. I think the reason I'm botching is because when it came to Beth Phoenix, she seemed to get a little bit confused between the name Nikki and Nicole. Because when it came down to it, through most of that match, Beth Phoenix was saying Nicole instead of Nikki Bella. I think she should have been paying attention. This was where I really felt that they should have let three women do this damn match, particularly Alundra Blaze. I wanted Alundra Blaze on commentary, not because she couldn't wrestle, it's because she has more experience than any woman on the freaking planet. She had been wrestling since the late 80s, into the 90s before she finally retired or at least stopped working with the WWE. I wanted that wealth of experience on commentary. I wanted Renee Young to be the head of it. Then I want Beth Phoenix to be the current one that knows most of what was going on, because she only retired a few, like 6 or 7 years ago. So she's still good in the company. And then when it came to Alundra Blaze, who had everything before the early 2000s, that would have made it so beautiful. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella. I know. But at least then it would have made better sense for commentary and would have made the match more interesting. Let's be honest. If you really cared about this match, I'm surprised. I'm surprised about the Nassau Coliseum cheering for Nikki Bella. Unless that was recorded. That could have been recorded. If it wasn't recorded, I'm shocked at my fellow New Yorkers. I'm sorry. What has Nikki Bella done to gain that type of cheers? Zero. She did not deserve to be cheered like that. I truly believe that might have been canned heat. That could have been canned pop. That they added in Nikki Bella cheering. So they didn't want to let people know how badly she was. Now, I could be wrong. You guys can tell me below if anyone saw it in person. But when it came down to it, I did not care. Seeing Twin Magic. So, and care. When it came down to it, Shayna Baszler. Well, I'm sorry, I'm saying Shayna Baszler. And you see, I don't even want to think about this match. I didn't care when it came to Ronda Rousey beating the hell out of a Nikki Bella. Or should I call her Nicole, like Beth Phoenix? I'm sorry. But in the end, this is what we got. Well, I don't hate Ronda. I just felt like they could have done something more with her. And it really felt like a waste. I'm not going to explain how good the matches was. You can see whatever few images I got. I was so uninterested. Honestly, I was. Now, this was the match of the night. And this is the match that should have ended the show. And that was, oh my goodness. I was very worried about this match between Becky and Charlotte. I was. I was worried that they wouldn't be able to pull it off. I was worried that they would hold them back. And in this situation, they didn't. Both women acted pretty good. But to be honest, when it came to Charlotte, I say this again. Tell me below who actually believes Charlotte can wrestle as she is now. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Charlotte is a good wrestler with great potential if she stopped being Ric Flair. As it stands right now, only thing I see is Ric Flair with tits and ass and a ladies area instead of a male's area. I just don't see anything from her. I don't see anything unique from her. She should be the first Ashley. If I remember her name correctly, that her name is Ashley. She shouldn't be another Ric Flair. We've already had one Rick. He's not dead yet. I don't need another player in the game. I need someone who will change the game. And she's not doing it for me. Of course, it's going to be something different for everybody else. But in the end, she boxed a lot. But she still got away with enough clean work that I could say she did very well. Now, we'll say that. For most of the match, they were being rough, but not really rough. At the very opening, you get Becky shoved to the floor and the ref counts for her. Then you get Charlotte shoved to the floor and then he counts for her. They go and exchange back and forth. Eventually, the real counting actually happened when they both really got hurt. At one point, you had, how can I say this? Once Charlotte tried to set up a chair and throw it into the ring. No, wait a minute, I take that back. Once Becky threw a chair into the ring, Charlotte started throwing chairs into the ring. Back and forth. It just, I just say this. When it came to Charlotte trying to be creative, it didn't work very well. It was Becky who was making the match work. And when Becky went through the table after she climbed the ladder, yes, Charlotte did set up the ladder. That is where the show was really about Becky. And once there was that point when Becky decided, you know what? When Charlotte got up after she buried her partially under some chairs, she said, is that the best you got? I'm going like, are you seriously telling me they're going to let Charlotte win this? Are you seriously telling me, oh, now she's getting a kendo stick? Are you honestly telling me this is going to happen? Well, guess this. Didn't happen. Charlotte was buried again under a whole bunch of chairs. Then they went to the ring. Then Charlotte was put through a table. And then finally, Charlotte could not get up, and it was Becky who won, who I believe was the wisest move. If they had let Charlotte win this, there would have been a riot. No one likes Charlotte. So when it comes down to it, the WWE made the right decision to do this. But here's the problem. Even though that was the best match of the night, Charlotte did do a good job. As much problem as I have with her, she did do a good job. Becky winning was the right thing to do. This was an NXT show, not pay-per-view. Show. So all that hard work really didn't amount to much. Just me. This was an NXT show, not pay-per-view. And that felt average. And to be honest, as something is important to this company, to letting the women have their own pay-per-view, it should be a lot more. But this is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.